Palaya Bajra Satwa Teno Patishta Dedo Membawa Sutokayo Membawa Supokayo Membawa Anurato Membawa Sarva Siddhim Mempreyacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Chitam Shreyaku Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Bajra Mame Muncha Bajre Bhava Maha Sato let's look at page 38, the 7 protections of Tara. Ma kewa mepe chuying na yumjetsun la mo droma shu. So that's the first verse of the 7. In the mother, the birthless Dharma Dhatu, dwells noble goddess Mother Tara. So if you want to, sometimes it's done this way, The Dharma Kaya is this, the Sambhoga Kaya is this, the Nirmana Kaya is this. So the Dharmakaya is this birthless Dharma Dhatu, the perfection of wisdom, the mother. Then dwells the noble goddess Mother Tara. Both, you could say, is Sambhoga Kaya and Nirmana Kaya. Right? Collectively, they are also called the Rupa Kaya, the form body. So here also it's telling us Tara protects us from the outer harms and dangers and the inner harms and dangers. So the near causes of suffering and the distant causes of suffering. And this is an expression used in Tibetan medicine. And they identify near causes of suffering, which is the pathogens, the virus, the bacteria, or in Tibetan medicine, the imbalances in the energy due to lifestyle, kind of bad lifestyle habits, and eating chicharron all the time, and not doing any exercises, right? So that's like the near causes of suffering. Then the distant causes of suffering. So these imbalances in the energies, they all can be traced back to Buddha's identification of the 3 poisons as the distant causes, and distant but the fundamental causes of suffering. So likewise, in terms of dangers, there are the dangers that we face. We'll be naive to say, "Oh, these things don't exist." No, they exist. So the kind of, but all these commonsensical dangers, they are the near or the immediate causes of suffering, but they are summoned by, you could say, they are summoned by the distant causes of danger, which is the inner, right? The inner dangers. The inner dangers go welcome the outer types of dangers. So in terms of that, I don't. So this is a good resource. Now I sound like I'm from, I am from an older generation where I say, go to Google. That's like so passe right now. But Google it, it's like, what? Yeah, there's this funny meme, again, one more generation back, this thing is like, could you fax this to me? And, it's like, no, I can't. I can't do it where I am. Where are you, 21st century? But apparently lawyer firms, are still faxing each other stuff. The other mysterious thing, while I'm digressing, is I don't understand. I should ask some of these people. At the airport, they're using still that printer with the perforated sides. And then they tear on both sides. It's like, wait, what's going on here? You know, there got to be some mysterious reason. And they're still using that. Anyway, if you Google, back in the day where you say to people, to students, you know, yeah, you can Google, but you need to know what you're looking at, you know. And then now, AI. But there is a website called Rigpa Wiki, rigpawiki.org. For all the Tibetan Buddhist terms, a very reliable resource. Rigpa, R-I-G-P-A, Wiki, W-I-K-I. So there, for example, it gives us the associated with Tara is the list of what's known as the 8 great fears and the 16 lesser fears. In our text, it references to be protected from the 8 and 16 fears, right? I think the section that the second mandala offering, on page 37, beneath the right hand of the noble lady, in a gesture of granting protection, I and all those to be protected are gathered from the 8 and 16 types of discordant conditions, disagreeable conditions, and negative conditions, the 8 and 16. So this is referring, this is what is referring to. So on Rigpa Wiki, it gives us, what are the 8? So the 8 outer, the 8 great fears. So whenever this is mentioned, it's said that there are 8 outer fears and dangers. Fear is a literal translation, but dangers, right? There are 8 types of dangers that are external, and they have their inner correspondences. Yeah? So the 8 types that are external is drowning. Yeah, so in this area, we live through that threat, that danger. Thieves, lions, snakes, fire, spirits, as in more specifically flesh-eating spirits, yeah, which that flesh-eating worm, screw worm, is back. So that is fear number 6. And then kings is also listed as one of the dangers. Kings and elephants. Yeah. So very much, in India, elephants is a problem. Snakes, lions. Yeah. Snakes are usually cobras. The equivalent of our, rattle. Do we have rattlesnakes up here? No. Do we do? We have copperheads. Yeah, we have rattlesnakes. Yeah. So, part of my Facebook feed is this state snake catcher in Thailand. Oh. It's all videos of him training other people, and it's usually cobra. You know how they catch cobras in Thailand? Which is, cobra is like squirrels here, in Thailand. And common, okay? Not as not as a nuisance, as common. So how they catch cobra, okay, is basically using a 2-gallon empty Sprite container. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, Sprite. So the opening, right? Yeah, a 2 liter, a big one. Yeah, and you put the, the opening towards the cobra, and snakes have a tendency to go into these spaces. So once it goes in, it doesn't know how to reverse itself out. Then it's in. Then you just have to tickle it to go all the way in, then screw it up, and then ta-da, snake in the bottle. They make it look, a lot easier than, yeah.
Aren't some of those cobras like massive?
Oh yeah, they can go into tiny spaces. Yeah, they have a way of.
Squishy and I guess.
Yeah, so anyway,
They don't.
they never show you how they get it out. That is a different kind of problem. Most people are only interested in how do you get it away. Once it's gone, who knows? Anyway, yeah, drowning, thieves, lions, snakes, fire, flesh-eating demons, kings, and elephants. Kings basically meaning legal problems. Captivity, imprisonment, and in our day and time, lawsuits. Yeah. So the 8 types of external threats. So, drowning, fire, you could say those are like natural disasters, right? Thieves, kings, these are trouble that come because of circumstances. Lions, snakes, these are wild animals. Then there's flesh-eating demons. Right? But each of these are linked with an inner danger. So water or drowning is the inner equivalent is craving. Thieves is wrong views, mistaken views about cause and effect. Like robbers, they rob you of your wealth. They cause your ruin. Lions is pride. Snakes is envy. Fire is hatred. Flesh-eating demons is suspicion. Suspicions. Captivity is greed. Kings and greed. And elephants is ignorance. Yeah. Of course, overall, elephants are royal symbols in Asia, right? It's like the biggest vehicle before the creation of human vehicles. Royalty would ride on elephants, but I think royalty and ignorance here has more to do with, in the wild, elephants are extremely dangerous when they are drunk. So a drunken horde of elephants trampling, through your village.
Fruit or something?
From fruit, yeah, fermented fruits. Usually like, mangoes,
Deer.
bananas, yeah, fermented. And if they feast on that, then they can cause a lot of havoc. Yeah. So these are the 8, yeah. So the flood of attachment, how, in a way, right? We always think fire. At least I think most of us have greater fear of fire because of its seeming danger. But water, in some ways, much more dangerous. In ways that you can reroute fire, you can fight fire. Water disaster is very hard to fight. So between attachment and aversion, the effects of aversion is like the way we see fire. It can be felt very immediately. But water is deceptive. So attachment is really very deceptive. It may seem innocent. And how many times people have gotten into their car and think they can drive through that little puddle, and next thing you know, they have been taken down. And so attachment also works like that. Looks innocent enough, doesn't look so deep, doesn't look so forceful, but often it is. So attachment. Then the thieves of wrong view, the lion of pride, right? The snakes of jealousy, the fire of anger, the carnivorous demon of doubt and suspicion, the chains of miserliness, which is to imprison the king. Miserliness, greed, that chain you, that keep you really tight and trapped, imprisoned. And the elephant of ignorance. Then the 16 lesser fears basically repeat this list. So what are they? Enemies, lions again, elephants, fire, snakes, bandits, prison, ocean waves, cannibals, flesh eating, leprosy, the harm inflicted by messengers of Indra, poverty, separation from friends and loved ones, punishment by the king, showers of meteorites, and misfortunes. The catch-all. There's a list of 16. Not so common. Often the reference to 8 is very common. So anyway, back to our text. In the first verse of this protection in 7 verses, it communicates to us that Tara, swift and courageous, Tara, the rescuer from suffering, has the power to release us from both the relative, immediate type of danger and the actual causes of these dangers, which is, you could say, on the ultimate state. So next, not realizing ourselves as Dharmakaya, then our mind is overpowered by the afflictions. Kleshas are the afflictions. So how do we wander in this cycle of birth and death? How do we wander? We wonder. Why do we wonder? How do we wonder? We basically, samsara is the result of not knowing that our very nature is the Dharmakaya, the body of reality. And so instead of remembering, instead of operating from the state of Buddha, which is who we are, our mind is overpowered. Our mind is under the power of these afflictions. And so then we wander aimlessly in this cycle of confusion. Mother Goddess, pray protect us. When Dharma hasn't been born in the heart, when Dharma hasn't been born in the heart, we only follow after conventional words. And in this way, we are misled by base philosophical views, by tenets, by theories, and also on and so forth, by a lot of theory, a lot of systems of beliefs. So Dharma not being born in the heart, meaning we don't understand Dharma. Even if we have become experts of Dharma in terms of knowing all these philosophical views. Oh, there's this view, then there's this view, then higher than this view is this view, then higher than this view is this view. This is the reference to the base. Drupta Ngempe in Tibetan. Drupta are like tenets, meaning organized systems of thought. And this is actually a reference to the various Buddhist philosophical traditions. In late Indian Buddhism, what they have done is they have come up with helpful, looking back in late Indian Buddhism, at the university, the great seat of learning called Nalanda, when they look back at Buddhist history, they can see layers of kind of Buddhist teachings that often don't agree with each other. Right? So looking back at that, rather than seeing them as like squabbling or fighting factions, in Nalanda, a way of looking at all these differences, a very Indian, you could say, way of responding to diversity is to say, ultimately, they function together as a set. And so then from there they say, therefore you begin with this understanding, and when you have matured enough, then you come to this understanding about how things are, and then you come to this understanding of how things are, and finally you come to this understanding of how things are. And so even though there were way more than just 4 ways of looking at things, late Indian Buddhism kind of summarized the whole past of the development of a Buddhist tradition into 4 major philosophical traditions, or what's translated here as these philosophical views, drupta. So the 4 tenet systems. Yeah? So here it says, because the Dharma has not really been savored, has not really been tasted yet, then superficial readings of these debates, especially, so they debate each other, they debated each other. And the way that today, people learn about these views is also learning it from the standpoint of using reasoning to kind of arrange these 4 into what is supposed to be more and more refined understanding about the nature of self, the nature of reality. Yeah. But here in this prayer it says, we will be easily misled by these philosophical views as long as the main purpose of Dharma isn't clear yet. Then it's easy to get all caught up in we call it debate is a shorthand for refuting and establishing. That's the debate tradition. You refute, you show the faults of thinking this way. And by showing the faults of thinking this way, you establish, right? You set up, and these are the virtues of thinking this way. And then again, when you have matured to a certain point, you're supposed to refute this. And in other words, you keep upgrading yourself into a more and more powerful microscope, maybe you could say that, more and more powerful telescope. Now, while the immediate reference to philosophical views are referring to these organized ways of thinking, these worldviews within Indian Buddhism, and then not only within Indian Buddhism, because they also debated non-Buddhist traditions. And so there's also refuting the non-Buddhist systems. In fact, for example, the famous work, Way of the Bodhisattva, Shantideva's entry into the Way of Bodhisattva, Bodhicayyavatara, chapter 9 is laid out in that way, refuting inferior understanding and establishing higher understanding. But Kyoba Jigden Sumgan also cautions, as he says, don't think, that simply because you're not schooled in these philosophies, then you are free from the faults. It says, in fact, without learning a single word, a single technical vocabulary from these traditions, it's possible and likely and very likely that we actually hold these views within us. We may not have the exact language to express them, but basically, we have these mistaken views. So to clear these mistaken views, we pray that may Dharma be born in our heart so that we don't get dragged around by conventional words. We don't get distracted by all these words. So Mother, the perfect goddess, pray, protect us. It is difficult to realize one's mind. So to realize our mind's true nature is difficult. But even more so, even more challenging is after having glimpsed this mind, having seen it, having glimpsed it, we fail to habituate what we have seen. We fail to familiarize what we have seen. So playing on two words that sound the same and are related in Tibetan, the word for meditate is called gom. But the word for to habituate, to familiarize, is also called gom, but spelled differently. But they're related ideas, of course. But then gom and gom, so again, one of the Jigten Sungkyun's famous saying is, he says, gomba mayin, gomba yin. Gomba mayin, gomba yin. Which is, he's playing with the two words. He says, meditation is not, or less literally, it is not meditation, duh. I added the duh for special effect. It's not meditation, it's familiarization. With the also, and meditation is not such a good word to really catch the kind of the weight of what he's saying, because gompa, the word for meditation, is better translated, I would say, as cultivation. To cultivate, like a farmer would cultivate the crops, right? Here he says, it is not really about cultivating. In other words, it's not about making something new. It's not about trying to bring something new to sprout. Like the main work is to familiarize what you already are. Which is, what are we? We are Buddhas. Who are we? We are Tara. We are one of the 21 manifestations, or the 21,000, on the 21 billion manifestations of Tara. So what we have to do is, we have to familiarize it. So at least in theory, these empowerment rituals are occasions where you are introduced to your own mind as no different from Tara's mind. Then after that, you have to get familiar with it. How do you get familiar with it? These practice manuals, these sadhanas, such as the one we're working with right now. But instead, right? Instead of doing that, we are busy. We are entangled with vile deeds. Just like, same word, base philosophical views. Yucky deeds, yucky views. Nyempa. Like blech, yuck. Right? So instead, we get caught up. We are busy with the 10 non-virtues. We get carried away by that. Mother, goddess of recollection. This recollection can also be translated as mindfulness. Mother of mindfulness. So, how is this mother protecting us with the power of recollection? To be mindful is to remember. Smriti is to remember, to recollect. So obviously, depending on which system of meditation you're training in, you're recollecting slightly different things. Each of them have their own technique. Here is recollecting our nature as Tara. Not to forget that. So she is the goddess of not making us forget who we are. Mind is naturally existing non-dual wisdom, but due to the habitual propensity of dualistic fixation, beings are bound no matter what they do. And so we are fundamentally bound by this dualistic perception, where we bifurcate subject and object. That there is subject and an object is not exactly where the problem is. It's not recognizing that subject and object depend on each other. Not remembering that. That subject and object, they don't exist in of themselves separately. So the example I like to use, that sounds simple enough, but it gets the point across, this teacher asking this child, how old is your father? And the child goes, 5. Say, no, not you, your father. How old is your father? 5. Right? And in fact, he's probably being a smart aleck, but that's the point. Right? Insofar as this individual being a father, father is only as old as the child is 5. Yeah? Because there's no pre-existing father. Before the arrival of the child, this person's identity is a different set. And then father got added. Right? Then all these different sets is always changing and shifting. Right? At no time are you everything. Although we like to think that, I'm also father, I'm also this, I'm also that, I'm also that. That's just a conceptual overlay. Yeah? From moment to moment, who you are is in relation to who you are, or who or what you're interacting with. And then in that momentary point, which lasts for a moment, you are that. And we don't see that. We keep forgetting that, We keep forgetting that. And so then we fall into this dualistic fixation. Dualistic fixation. Again, right? My pet peeve, non-dual doesn't mean, So the alternative is not to walk around not recognizing that, well, you're buying something, they're selling something, and you say, non-dual, I'll just take and go. Well, that's convenient non-dual, right? So non-duality doesn't mean don't pay your bills. Yeah? Also, non-duality doesn't mean, yours is mine and mine is mine. That's often how non-duality seems to kind of play out. Yours is mine and mine is mine, Beings are bound no matter what they do. Goddess of non-dual exalted mind, pray protect us. Although some say they abide in perfect reality. So this is now already kind of very advanced. So advanced that, you feel like, oh, I'm now abiding in perfect reality. I understand all this, everything is Buddha, I am Buddha, I see the problem of dualistic fixation, now I've arrived at this state where I feel like I'm abiding now in perfect reality. But they do not know. They still do not know the interdependence between cause and effect. In other words, they don't yet see all the minute details of causality and how causality plays out. Yeah? They still don't see that, And so they are confused about the reality of all that can be known. So here, this abiding in perfect reality is the feeling or the level where you think, oh, I understand emptiness. I understand emptiness now. I understand the nature of mind, right? So, oh yes, oh, feels really good. And maybe it's even more profound than that. You have done years of meditation, and then suddenly, ta-da! Right, the light comes on. But so Kyoba Rinpoche, composed this. For Kyoba Rinpoche, he says, if you want to know, where you are, or are you there yet? Then ask yourself, can you see this particular situation that is unfolding here? What is the karmic causality of this situation? Yes, admittedly, this sounds so far over there. Because it's saying you can see exactly, you can. So this is where we get in the area of this past life, this happened, that happened, that happened, this happened, right? And even kind of in some ways it feels like in the realm of fairy tales, but nonetheless, it's in the tradition. It says, Buddhas are those who can see karmic causality. Not just karmic causality in terms of what happened in the past, but also karmic causality as it's unfolding right now. To be able to see that without any error. So, in his own life, when he finally met who is his main teacher, Pamodrupa, when he finally met Pamodrupa, there was a point when he was training with Pamodrupa where he himself felt, that he has realized perfect reality. And in fact, he got arrogant. He stopped turning up at the teachings. And maybe a combination of arrogance, but also he was busy meditating, instead of coming to the teachings by his teacher. Because he sincerely, but sincerity and pride, are not mutually exclusive. So sincerely he thought, oh, now I'm abiding in perfect reality. I don't need to go to those teachings anymore. I got it already. So I just need to sit here and kind of bliss out, right? Then his teacher called him out and said, you're not there yet. Right? Teacher said, I know what you have achieved, at what point you are in this process. Trust me, not there yet. Then it is said that after calling out Jigten Sumgön on that, his teacher started to teach a different subject. Up until that point, his teacher's instructions to the community tended to emphasize the mind, nature of mind, this, that. But after scolding Jigten Sumgön and say, you're not there yet, come back to the teachings. Then when he came back to the teachings, Jigten Sumgön was teaching the Jataka tales. Seemingly, now if you look at even our library, Jataka tales, they're all cartoons. We in the West think Jataka tales are for kids. Actually, in the old country, Jataka tales are for when you are very advanced, then you have some capacity to understand. Otherwise, it's very superficial. Because yes, on the superficial level of reading these past lives of the Buddha Jataka tales, it sounds like the lesson is always, kick a dog and the dog will come back and kick you. It seems like, that's the take-home lesson, If you kick a dog, watch out. The dog is going to come back and kick you, or at least bite you. But that's very superficial understanding of these tales. In fact, the Jataka tales communicate the interdependence of cause and effect. In fact, today in the training, for example, you may have heard the most scholastically inclined tradition of Tibetan Buddhism is the lineage that His Holiness the Dalai Lama is part of, the Gelugpa lineage. And in the Gelugpa lineage, they are training for geshes, for their Doctor of Divinity degree. Takes the longest, 15 to 18 years, the Doctor of Divinity. In the last few batches, they have graduated women Doctor of Divinities, Geshema. So it's a very good progress there in terms of equal access to education. So they have now Geshema. But in the Geshema curriculum, the topic of the Jatakas is the last topic that they learn in their 15, 18 years of education. Vinaya and Jataka tales come at the end of this long. So clear thinking, not just in terms of content, but in terms of method of thinking, like epistemology, is taught right at the beginning. And then, finally, at the end, it says, now you have some capacity to understand the Vinaya, which is the do's and the don'ts in the monastic code, and the cause and effect that is involved in those cases. Again, the Vinaya collection and the monastic code has lots of stories. The circumstance of how this rule was established and how the rule was modified and fine-tuned until it's stabilized, and Buddha says, okay, now this is the rule. Again, if you don't have the right kind of understanding or attitude, it's easy to read these rules and go, oh my gosh. But it says, Jigten Sumgön says, some people think Vinaya, the material in the Vinaya, by extension Jataka too, like Buddhism for dummies. It says, but the true primordial wisdom of Buddhists are found in the do's and the don'ts. Not in this high-sounding, emptiness of this. There are 4 types of emptiness. Then 4 types of emptiness can be divided into 16 types of emptiness. The emptiness of emptiness, the emptiness of the emptiness of emptiness, All these things, it says, they are actually secondary to the Buddha's very direct saying, don't do that, because that causes suffering. So here, although some say they abide in perfect reality, they do not know the interdependence of cause and effect. So then they're confused about the truth of knowable things. They're confused about the truth of things. Mother, all-knowing goddess, so Tara has this power of all-knowingness. Pray, protect us. Pray, protect us basically means give me this ability too. Let this ability arise in myself. So I've sometimes give this example. I said, in Buddhist practice, we have a lot of prayers. And then, so sometimes these prayers, right, might sound like superficially when you look, then especially in Mahayana, Vajrayana tradition, superficially when you look, you say, oh my gosh, there's a lot of prayers, What are all these for? It seems like you're asking for this, you're asking for that, you're asking for this, you're asking for that, right? But basically, this is how prayer works. We start with why we do these prayers. We do these prayers because we are saying, may I come to you. May I come to you. Tara. Right? May I come to you. So all these prayers are made so that we get closer and closer to Tara. But there is a second prayer. Not only may I come to you, may I become like you. That is the first reason, the bottom line reason, why may I come to you? So that may I become like you. Right? So it's like you are, dropped in the middle of the desert. And so heat and thirst is going to take you out. Then someone comes along and tells you, right? There is an oasis with big trees that can offer relief from the heat. And that can have water to quench thirst. So you need to go in that direction. So initially, the prayers that we do is to keep us focused on arriving at the oasis. So the qualities of the oasis is listed out, right? Oh, it's like this. Oh, it's like that. Oh, it's like this. Oh, it's like that, right? So one purpose of listing out these qualities is so that we don't go, but somebody say, over there's a Starbucks. No. So initially this prayer keeps us focused to go in that direction. And in fact, initially it can also offer some hope, right? When you're so hot and so dehydrated, you start to hallucinate, right? And you hallucinate even like losing hope, So to be told there is this oasis with this big tree that can offer relief from heat, does in the short term offer some relief. So prayer can do that, but then if you don't, that spurt of energy that comes from knowing, oh, there's an oasis over there, and if you don't act upon it and actually head in that direction, then this temporary, like, oh, there's this place with these qualities, you have wasted that burst of energy that is given you. With that burst of energy, you go. Then, of course, the journey is not so easy. You may lose faith, you may lose determination, but you continue to say the prayers. When I get there, this is what's there, this, that. So you continue. But then, when you get there, you become that tree. You become the oasis. Now you offer shelter to others. So that's the kind of the logic of why we pray to Tara. we have to begin because of on the relative level. I'm here, she's there. So may I come to you? So even in like Vajrayana sequencing of practices, so the first stage is called approaching the deity. It's also called serving the deity, seva, in Sanskrit. The approaching the deity or serving the deity. So in approaching the deity and serving the deity, so in these sadhanas, sometimes they are identified as such. This is the approach sadhana. That means you are approaching the deity. You approach the deity by serving the deity. Then you accomplish the deity. You accomplish the deity. So that's like you have arrived at the oasis. You have accomplished the deity. But there's a third step, which is now you act as the deity. So that's the activities of the deity. So that's how, these kind of prayers here work. So the last verse here, the characteristic of space is freedom from constructs. So space is often, space, sky is often used as a metaphor, as a device for pointing students to the nature of mind. And the characteristic of space is free from constructs, and everything is no different from that. So our mind, phenomena, everything is no different from this freedom from constructs. Even so, for disciples who are still ordinary persons, meaning they are not yet Aryas, they are not yet noble beings, please protect them. Please protect them. Because they don't yet understand. So this is everything is perfect, but there's still room for improvement, right? That's also very Japanese. Everything is perfect, but still. And then finally, right, when it is perfect, go break off one twig. Now it's perfect. That's the Japanese, right? Everything is perfect now, right? Now go break that and then glue it back with gold. Now it's perfect. Thus make the prayer for desire. It aims for the protection in 7 verses, which is famous as the prayer offered by Kyopa in this Echung cave. Any questions or comments?
The part about approaching the deity, accomplishing the deity, and what's the last part?
Activating the deity, yeah. To act as the deity. So the actual ability to protect others, to offer others help, becomes more and more natural. In the ritual manuals that kind of develop over time, then the activity part may have things like fire pujas to accomplish this or that goal. May have protection rituals, exorcism rituals, healing rituals, and that's all kind of recruiting from what Indians, what Tibetan folk culture is familiar with. And as a result, there are these texts, for all these things, which is a translation of a more basic concept of activating the deity. So I want to say that this activating of deity or activating of the qualities of the deity, it's too limiting if we think it's only done through these ritual manuals. Like, oh, do this puja to increase, positive conditions. Do this puja, to overcome obstacles. Do this puja, to have influence over this or that situation. Oh, do this puja to heal, right? Yes, definitely. Over the centuries, different liturgical texts have been composed. And by and large today, when they talk about activating the deity, they're saying, and so it's become kind of codified or formalized into, you do the approaching the deity, which is sometimes either determined by accumulating 1 million mantra of Tara, or 1 year of focused Tara practice. Then the next text comes called the accomplishing Tara. And then the mantra may change a little bit. Right? Then again, for that you need to do another 1 million of Tara, this particular mantra, using this particular accomplishment text. And then after that you are qualified to give empowerment, to perform Tara exorcism, to perform Tara protection, and so on and so forth. Then other texts, right? In a way, you could say it has become mechanical. Because the underlying principle is not finish this, finish this, finish this. What the underlying is much more organic. So especially when you look at Kyoba's 12th century evidence, as far as we can tell, he did not use these different texts. It's a stage of development where first he gained familiarity with the deity, with the principle. So whenever we say deity, whenever you hear me saying deity, right, you should immediately also know, we're talking about, yes, a particular form, a particular color, a particular mythology, but we're also talking about a particular set of principles. Yeah, so he gained familiarity with that principle, and then he achieved that principle. Then quite naturally, he activates that principle. And there are some teachings he gives where he says, okay, now you recite this mantra, but it's very simple. The ritual is very simple. By modern standards, by the standards of the last 500 years of Tibetan Buddhism. What he gives is very simple. But it works because it's not based on this formalistic finishing. I finished this retreat, then I finished this retreat. Oh, now I can do this. Yes.
Isn't the very act of helping someone, serving someone, giving whatever protection, isn't that activating the deity as well?
Yes, if you are actually helping, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. A lot of times, are we helping? Yeah, and also I know where that question comes from, or at least, but then with that I also want to caution, we are also saying more than that.
In addition to these other.
Yeah, in addition to don't be a jerk, be a nice person, be a kind person. But it's more than that. Achieving Tara is more than just, oh, that's a nice guy. And people giving nice eulogies at your funeral. A little bit more than that. Tara. Yeah? Oh, this is a nice guy. It's more than that, achieving Tara. Achieving Avalokiteshvara.
But it's doing the ritualistic
Hmm?
kinds of
Sorry?
It's doing these ritualistic kinds of things
No,
to accomplish?
no,
In addition to,
no.
no?
I'm saying that has become the formalistic part of these practices. No, the real achievement of Kyoba, where he can directly say to someone, don't go tomorrow. And then there's a landslide. He knows. And without relying on ritual in any kind of, very technical things. Today, that's what, activating tend to mean in the world of Tibetan Buddhism. So many fancy rituals, but I can see from the evidence of his life, from Gampopa's life, Pamodrupa's life, they were not spending weeks and months doing rituals. They really have the power of samadhi, and from samadhi, cultivating the four immeasurables, and they accomplish benefit of beings more than the be a nice person, help your neighbor, don't kick the dog.
So you're saying we can spend years as ordinary people doing all of these rituals
Yes.
and not accomplish wisdom and compassion.
Yes. It's
To understand what is right action.
yes.
And so even if you have reached that point, do you need verification from a guru that you have obtained that, or is it self?
Whether you need verification from someone else or not, well, depends, But if you are helping and benefiting, it's also obvious to you. Yeah. Of course, in this system, it always says it's good to have someone to hold you accountable, so to say. But it's not so formal. Yeah, I don't think it needs to be so formal.
And so I ask another question.
Yes.
With all these retreat centers and these Buddhist Vajrayana,
Uh-huh.
especially the troubles that are happening nowadays with the centers and with the masters,
Yes.
disciples,
Yes.
the difficulties.
Yes. All the scandals.
All the scandals. Is this empowering beings before they're ready, essentially, to give them too many practices?
Is it the result of all these scandals and problems at centers? Is it the result of empowering them before they are ready? I think it's more basic than that. One piece is the pains of transmission and translation and mistransmission and mistranslation. It's a big topic. Then, to be fair, let's put it in this way. Half of marriages end in divorce. Is there a problem with the institution of marriage? Yes. Should everyone stop marrying? No. That's also funny when people say monastic life, they're like, oh, no, that's not, look at all the problems. Then my friend, this nun, she's like, every time someone tells me that, I said, have you looked at the problems of marriage? How many people get murdered by their spouse? By that measurement, you all should give up marriage long time ago. Don't tell me, monastic life is like unnatural, filled with problems, At least the murder rate is a lot lower among monastics than among spouses. So there are many problems, and I personally I don't attribute it to but I do attribute it to misunderstanding, mistranslating statements like the guru is infallible, always perceive the guru as a Buddha, la la la. I say to people, yes, perceive your guru as a Buddha, but don't tell your guru you're perceiving her as a Buddha. Keep it a secret. Because it's good for you to perceive Buddhas everywhere. But don't tell other people you're doing that. Because they will come and test you. So, a lot of it is this miscues and then like a lot of trauma in the refugee community and the human side of these teachers. And just to illustrate some of the conditions of what you're talking about, again, I don't think it's really the practice that is, like sometimes people say, the practice is stirring up these things. At least for me, I tend to see it more mundane, and for me at least easier to explain what is going on. It's like not all, but most of these scandals are happening when someone is plucked out of their context and dropped in the middle of somewhere else. Not that there aren't these types of abusive problems in the old country, but not as prevalent. So they have developed checks and balances, right? All these advice about always to perceive the guru as correct, as wrong, never say no to the guru, la la la, all of that, right? But over time, there is a safety net that people have built around these types of expressions. Yeah, so in Asia we're like, yes, Rinpoche, yes. Turn around, do something else. Saying, no, that doesn't make any sense. That's how it has, that's the safety net. And gossip is a very powerful deterrent. People kind of like are more careful. Right? It cuts both ways, right? Here we don't really care what other people think. Well, that's very liberating, but that also means, gossip is no longer a way to keep things in check. Anyway, difficult, complicated, but no more complicated than all our other interactions with each other. Same, where too much power is invested in someone, then it can work miracles, but it can also bring a lot of mischief. Complete trust can deliver very good things if whoever you're trusting actually, right, has your best interest in mind, and not only that, not enough, also has enough skill to recognize what you need. No quicker way to blossom. And so many stories, right, of mentors who, not just Buddhism, in so many other areas of life, so many stories of mentors who are like that, and how someone has blossomed because they have that kind of mentor. Likewise, so many stories of horrible things, and then also stories of both things happening at the same time. A great mentor, but also very abusive in other ways. So that's the messiness of being human. And Dharma practice is no different, because it's human beings still. One great quote from some series I was watching. This young woman goes, do you know why families are so bleeped up? Because they're made up of people. Yes.
On that subject, I love the book, In the Words of My Perfect Teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so strange because, I'm going to say it wrong, but it's a
Patro Rinpoche, yes, yes. Yeah,
so-
words of my perfect teacher, yes.
Yeah, and it's not really, if you read it, it's not about him at all.
Uh-huh.
It's just, but he gives such good advice
Yes.
on if you see this and you see this, if you see this person being abusive, and it's just like, is that what you want as a teacher?
Uh-huh,
You
yes.
know, and he just has a lot of common sense.
Yes, yes.
And so if anybody
Yeah, yeah.
questions and wants better advice, that would be a good book to read.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, good advice, words of my perfect teacher. But at the same time, communities who read words of my perfect teacher, communities who produce translation of words of my perfect teacher, messed up. So
Yes.
immense capacity for us to mess things up. But at the same time, having some kind of common sense and not throwing that common sense out goes a long way. Yeah, I have some things I said. If you go to a Tibetan Buddhist community, yeah, so here, since we opened this door, if you start hearing people saying, don't gossip, be careful. Something is going on there. I'm not saying it's definitely, but if that is a constant refrain, something is going on there. If you go to a community where they talk about, every sentence is sprinkled with the word samaya and breaking samaya, be careful. Something is up there. Yeah. But if you go, and they talk about loving kindness, compassion, and minus those things, you're probably in a good place. And people who know how to laugh, people who, you're probably in a safe place. Will you get enlightened there? I can't guarantee, but at least it's not dangerous. Yes.
Just in terms of the practice,
Yes.
in the very beginning, we see Tara in front of us.
Yes.
And we're making those.
Yes. She's still in front of us.
But then we also arose as Tara. We ourselves are self-visualizing as Tara.
Yes.
And we're more or less trying to maintain that through this whole
Yes.
practice.
Mhm.
She's there, we're here.
Yeah. We are Tara in training
Yeah.
and graduated Tara. It's a fundamental it's a fundamental characteristic of this pan-Indian tradition called Tantra. Across various Hindu Tantras, Buddhist Tantra, yeah, a fundamental kind of position is only a deity will fully recognize a deity. In the Hindu Tantra, it says only Shiva has the power to worship Shiva. In the Bhagavad Gita too, even though it's not a tantric text, it says that when God wanted to reveal its fullness to Arjuna, God had to give Arjuna his eyes. It's kind of that notion. So, Tara in training here, and Tara as result there. And then we bridge that gap as we do the offerings. Yeah. We're still getting there. We still have the approaching. So this all, the 21 repetitions, 7 times, 2 times, 3 times, 7 times, we are approaching. And then after this third and final mandala offering to Tara, then the mantra recitation starts. Then that's when we go to a more I am Tara and These mantra garlands, mantra chains are coming out of me. Yeah. Page 41. For the third mandala offering, the Tara, if you wish to be elaborate, if you wish it to be elaborate, first perform the blessing of the offerings as before, as in on page 6. But if you don't want, it's fine too, which then you go straight into page 41. With supreme flowers and supreme garlands, with symbols, ointments, and supreme parasols, with supreme lamps and supreme incense, I make offerings to you, noble lady, and to you, victors, with your heirs. Om Aryatare Saparivara Bhajra Argyam Bhadyam Pushpe Dupe aloke gende nevede shapta praticha sarva puja ho. Now the mandala offering. To you, assembly of noble ladies, complete with the 3 kayas, I offer secret and searchness offerings, accepting my body, wealth, and all that appears and exists. Please grant the supreme unsurpassed siddhi. Om Ratna Mandala Puja Mega Samudra Saparana Samaye Ahong. So here, remember in the last mandala offering, it's Tara, offering Tara's protection to yourself and to anyone else that you feel is particularly in need of Tara's protection. So her hand, right, in this way. Now the visualization, the first one you could say is protecting from outer dangers, basically. Now to work on the inner dangers. It says, here it says, in her right hand she has a vase. And in the gesture of supreme generosity. And so this is the Atisha tradition of representing Tara. There's always a vase in the hand. And then from this vase, so the elixir is filling Tara's body, and it goes into the vase, and it comes out of the vase. The elixir overflows from the vase in the form of 5 scarlet light, enters into your crown. So now, instead of this offering protection, is holding a vase, kind of pouring the vase, and it's overflowing. And like if you're familiar with Vajrasattva practice, the vase is this elixir, stream of elixir flowing down like a shower, like a waterfall, filling your bodies and clearing the stains of the 2 obscurations, karma and afflictions. The noble ladies' blessings enter all of you without exception. And so that's the basic visualization here. So the last one is her protection. You are kept safe from the immediate dangers. Now, working on clearing the things, the afflictions that are summoning the dangers. So acute dangers and chronic dangers. And now chronic dangers are being addressed. So 42. The noble lady holds a vase in her right hand in the gesture of supreme generosity. A stream of elixir from her body and enters the vase. The elixir overflows from the vase. A 5-colored light, it enters through your crown and those protector, filling your bodies and clearing the stains to obscurations, karma and afflictions. The noble lady's blessings enter all of you without exception. Now page 26. Om homage to you, Bhagavati Aryatara. Homage to Tara, swift and courageous, gazes as quick as flashes of lightning. From Lord of Triloka, his face like a lotus, you rose on a billion-fold blossoming stamens. Homage to you with a face that resembles a meeting of 100 full moons in autumn, and who with the brightness of stars by the thousands shine in the vast perfect light of resplendence. Homage to you, the golden-hued lady, whose hand is adorned by a blue lotus flower. Your scope of activity is giving exertion, fortitude, peace, tolerance, meditation. Homage to you, the victorious, boundless, from the Tathagata's crown emanated. Those who obtain every transcendent virtue, offspring of victors, rely on your guidance. Homage to you, filling the realm of desire, its aspect and space with the Hong and Tutara. Worlds under your feet you can trample. You bring all and everything under your power. Homage to you who is worshipped by Indra, Agni, Marut, Vishweswara and Brahma, all the Vetalas, Buddhas, Gandharvas, as well as the Yakshas give praise in your presence. Homage to you who by tread and the pet sounds crush every magical wheel, evil forces. Right leg extended and left bend you trample. Within whirling flames you are blazing intensely. Homage to you, the swift terrifying, who conquers the most tenacious of Maras. Knitting the brow on your lotus-like features, you slay every foe without an exception. Homage to you with your fingers in mudra, adorning your heart to show the 3 jewels. Your masses of light are beautiful swirling, connecting with every direction in circles. Homage to you from your crown manifesting joyous, majestic, brilliant garlands with the great clangor of laughter to Tara. Demons and worlds are in your domination. Homage to you with the magnetized powers, who gather protectors of earth in assembly. With syllable Hong and your brow which is frowning, you liberate every poor destitute being. Homage to you with the crescent and moon crown, while your adornments so brilliantly sparkle. And Amitabha is placed in your top knot, ceaselessly vast rays of light radiating. Homage to you seated in flaming garlands, engulfed in the fire like the end of the Kalpa. Right leg extended and left bend defeating enemy hordes with your joy bringing swirling. Homage to you with your palms you are striking the earth while using your feet to be stamping. Regally frowning with the Hong letter, you shatter the 7-fold layers of locusts. Homage to you, blissful, virtuous, and peaceful. Enjoy the domain of the tranquil nirvana, fully possessing the Om and the Swaha. You overcome even the greatest of evils. Homage to you who, encircled by joyous, utterly smashes the forms of opponents, clearing away with the hung of awareness, arranges the mantra by tenfold of letters. Homage to you with feet stamping Ture, fully presenting the form of the Hong seed. You cause the three worlds to all be a tremble, including Mount Meru, Mandara, and Vindhya. Homage to you in whose hands is a deer marked, shaped like the Deva's ocean of elixir, sound of the pet and the twice uttered Tara. Without an exception dispels every poison. Homage to you who is asked for your guidance by rulers of Devas, by gods and Kinnaras. Your armor of joy, a radiant brightness, removes every nightmare and calms every quarrel. Homage to you whose two eyes are shining, radiant like the sun and the full moon. By Tutara and with the twice chanted Hara, you clear away even infectious diseases. Homage to you who can come down completely through the array of the threefold suchness. Crowds of Vetalas, Buddhas, and Yakshas, suppressed with the Ture sublime Mother Tara. 26. Homage to Tara, swift and courageous, gazes as quick as flashes of lightning. From Lord of Triloka, his face like a lotus. You rose on a billion-fold blossoming stamens. Homage to you with a face that resembles a meeting of 100 full moons in autumn, and who with the brightness of stars by the thousands shine in the vast perfect light of resplendence. You lady, whose hand is adorned by a blue lotus flower, your scope of giving is giving exertion, fortitude, peace, tolerance, meditation. Homage to you, the victorious, boundless, from the Tathagata's crown emanated, those who obtain every transcendent virtue. Offspring of victors rely on your guidance. Homage to you, filling the realm of desire, its aspect and space with the Hong and Tutara. Sevenfold worlds under feet you can trample. You bring all and everything under your power. Homage to you who is worshipped by Indra, Agni, Marut, Visheshwara, and Brahma, all the Vetalas, Buddhas, Gandharvas, as well as the Yakshas give praise in your presence. Homage to you who by tread and the pet sounds crush every magical wheel evil forces. Right leg extended and left bend you tremble. Within whirling flames you are blazing intensely. Homage to you, the swift terrifying, who conquers the most tenacious of Maras. Knitting the brown on your lotus-like features, you slay every foe without an exception. Homage to you with your fingers in mudra, adorning your heart to show the three jewels. Your masses of light are beautiful swirling, connecting with every direction in circles. Homage to you from your crown manifesting joyous, majestic, brilliant garlands with the great clangor of laughter to Tara. Demons and worlds are in your domination. Homage to you with the magnetized powers who gather protectors of earth in assembly. With syllable Hong and your brow which is frowning, you liberate every poor destitute being. Homage to you with the crescent and moon crown, while your ornaments so brightly sparkle. And Amitabha is placed in your top knot, ceaselessly vast rays of light radiating. Homage to you seated in flaming garlands, engulfed in a fire like the end of the Kalpa. Left leg beating, enemy hordes with your joy bringing swirling. Homage to you, with your palms you are striking the earth while using your feet to be stamping. Regally frowning with the Hong letter, you shatter the sevenfold layers of locusts. Homage to you, blissful, virtuous, and peaceful. Enjoy the domain of the tranquil nirvana, fully possessing the Om and the Swaha. You overcome even the greatest of evils. Homage to you, who, encircled by joyous, utterly smashes the forms of opponents, clearing away with the hum of awareness, arranges the mantra by tenfold of letters. Homage to you, with feet stamping Ture, fully presenting the form of the Hong seed. You cause the three worlds to all be a tremble, including Mount Meru, Mandara, and Vindhya. Homage to you, whose hand is a deer marked, shaped like the Deva's ocean of elixir. Sound of the pet and the twice a Tatara, without an exception dispels every poison. Homage to you, who is asked for your guidance by rulers of Devas, by gods and Kinnaras. Your armor of joy, a radiant brightness, removes every nightmare and calms every quarrel. Homage to you, whose two eyes are shining with brilliant light like the sun and the full moon. By Tutara and with the twice chanted Hara, you clear away even infectious diseases. Homage to you, who can come down completely through the array of the threefold suchness. Crowds of Vetalas, Buddhas, and Yakshas, suppressed with the two rays sublime Mother Tara. Again, page 26. Homage to Tara, swift and courageous, gazes as quick as flashes of lightning. From Lord of Triloka, his face like a lotus, you rose on a billionfold blossoming stamens. Homage to you, with a face that resembles a meeting of 100 full moon in autumn, and who with the brightness of stars by the thousands shine in the vast perfect light of resplendence. Homage to you, the golden-hued lady, whose hand is adorned by a blue lotus flower. Your scope of activity is giving exertion, fortitude, peace, tolerance, meditation. Homage to you, the victorious, boundless, from the Tathagata's crown emanated. Those who obtain every transcendent virtue, offspring of victors, rely on your guidance. Homage to you, filling the realm of desire with the Tung and Tutara. Sevenfold worlds under feet you can trample. You bring all and everything under your power. Homage to you, who is worshipped by Indra, Agni, Marut, Visheshwara, and Brahma. All the Vetalas, Buddhas, Gandharvas, as well as the Yakshas, give praise in your presence. Homage to you, who by tread and the path sound crush every magical wheel, evil forces. Right leg extended and left bent you tremble. Within whirling flames you are blazing intensely. Homage to you, the swift and terrifying, knitting the brow on your lotus-like features, graceful without an exception. Homage to you, with fingers as in mudra, adorning your heart to show the three jewels. Your masses of light are beautiful and swirling, connecting with every direction in circles. Homage to you, from your crown manifesting joyous with the great clangor of laughter to Tara. Demons and worlds are in your domination. Homage to you, with the magnetized powers. You gather protectors of earth in assembly. With syllable Hong in your brow, which is frowning, you liberate every poor destitute being. Homage to you, with the crescent and moon crown, while your ornaments so brilliantly sparkle, is placed in your top knot. ceaselessly vast rays of light radiating. Homage to you seated in flaming garlands, engulfed in the fire like the end of the Kalpa. Right leg extended and left bank defeating enemy hordes with your joy bringing swirling. Homage to you with your palms you are striking the earth while using your feet to be stamping. Regally frowning with the Hong letter, you shatter the sevenfold layers of locusts. Homage to you, blissful, virtuous, and peaceful. Enjoy the domain of the tranquil nirvana, fully possessing the Om and the Swaha. You overcome even the greatest of evils. Homage to you who, encircled by joyous, utterly smashes the forms of opponents, clearing away with the Hong of awareness, arranges the mantra by tenfold of letters. Homage to you with feet stamping Ture, fully presenting the form of the Hong seed. You cause the three worlds to all be a tremble, including Mount Meru, Mandara, and Vindhya. Homage to you in whose hand is a deer marked, shaped like the Deva's ocean of elixir, Sauna the pet and the twice uttered Tara, without an exception dispels every poison. Homage to you who is asked for your guidance by rulers of Devas, by gods and Kinnaras. Your armor of joy, a radiant brightness, removes every nightmare and calms every quarrel. Homage to you whose two eyes are shining with brilliant light like the sun and the full moon. By Tutara and with the twice chanted Hara, you clear away even infectious diseases. Homage to you who can come down completely through the array of the threefold suchness. Crowds of Vetalas, Buddhas, and Yakshas, suppressed with the two rays sublime Mother Tara. Now take a moment to feel that description, that visualization, right, that we are seated underneath this, you could say, gigantic Tara, with the right hand elixir coming out of the vase, this elixir entering us inside our bodies. Our bodies are also in the form of Tara. Taras in training, Taras to be actualized. And feel this elixir filling up your entire body and the bodies of all those to be protected, so that the afflictions, the afflictive emotions, the mental defilements can all be flushed out of this body, including sickness, illness, any obstacles that take away the 8 freedoms and the 10 endowments, necessary conditions for practicing Dharma. All those obscurations, all those obstacles are flushed out. The inner causes of the 8 outer fears are also being flushed out, being cleansed. Now page 43, even though the instructions say 7 times, but I want to make sure I get a chance to cover the whole text before this afternoon is over. So next is a prayer to Tara composed by Atisha. This is a well-known prayer. Namo Aryataraye, Om I prostrate to Bhagavati Noble Tara. Homage to you, Tara, glorious Lady Tare, you who clears away all fears with Tutare, you who grants all needs with Ture, to the 10 syllables with Swaha, I deeply bow. We repeat this. Namo Aryataraye, Om I prostrate to Bhagavati Noble Tara. Homage to you, glorious Lady Tare. Homage to you, Tara, glorious Lady Tare, you who clears away all fears with Tutare, you who grants all needs with Ture, to the 10 syllables with Swaha, I deeply bow. Namo Aryataraye, Om I prostrate to Bhagavati Noble Tara. Homage to you, glorious Lady Tare, you who clears away all fears with Tutare, you who grants all needs with Ture, to the 10 syllables with Swaha, I deeply bow. So on page 44 it says, recite as much as possible this blessed prayer, which is famous for having been spoken directly to the peerless Lord Atisha by his deity Tara. So Atisha taught this, but according to Atisha, he got this prayer, this invocation, directly from Tara. Then next is the traditional kind of explaining of the power of the homage to homage in 21 verses. Any intelligent ones who possess perfect respect for the goddess and recites this with supreme faith, rising at dusk and at dawn, will be granted all freedom from fear by remembering her. All mystics will be completely pacified, and all lower realms will be utterly destroyed. 70 million victors will swiftly grant empowerment. One will obtain even greater things than this, and ultimately reach the state of Buddhahood. Fierce and great poisons, whether abiding in oneself, being entered from another, whether eaten or even drunk, will be completely removed by remembering her. The masses of suffering caused by spirits, infectious diseases, and poisons will be. And this applies to other beings as well. Reciting this 2, 3, or 7 times, those desiring a child will obtain a child, and those desiring wealth will obtain wealth. All desires will be obtained, and obstacles will be non-existent and utterly destroyed. 47. Then yourself in the form of Tara. Then the Tara in front. This description is of what is happening in the heart center of the Tara in front. Page 47. Light rays radiate from the mantra garlands surrounding the green upon the moon disk in the heart. Generated noble lady, they make offerings think that they clear away all your fears and those of all sentient beings. All desire happiness and well-being without exception. The day here refers to the light rays that is radiating from the thumb syllable. So this is a thumb syllable here, written in Tibetan script, thumb. You can also just imagine a drop of green light, or TAM, thumb. Om Dare Tu Dare Tu Re Soha. 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 Dare Tu Dare Tu Re Soha. Om 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 Dare Tu Dare Tu Re Soha. Tu Dare Tu Re Soha. Om Dare 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 Tu Dare Tu Re Soha. Dare Tu Dare Tu Re Soha. Om Dare Tu Dare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tutare Ture 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 Soha. Tuttare dure som dare 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 tuttare dure som dare. Dare tuttare dure som dare tuttare dure som dare tuttare dure som dare tuttare dure som. Dare du dare du zum dare du dare du zum dare du dare zum dare du dare zum dare du dare zum dare du dare zum dare. Dare du dare du zum dare du dare du zum dare du dare du zum dare du dare zum dare du dare du dare. Dare du dare du rezom 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 dare du. Dare du dare du rezom dare du dare du dare du dare dare du dare du rezom 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 dare du dare Om dare du dare du rezom 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 dare du dare du dare du re so ha. In the tantras, it says, when you recite the mantras, when you recite the prayers, and then closely related to vocal sounds is breath and energy. And so then this breath and energy is often seen as having power to bless and to protect. So especially when people go ask for blessings from a teacher, a lama, especially those who do a lot of retreats, accumulating mantra, the way they kind of transfer the blessings is also using breath to blow on the water, to bless the water, to blow on. And there's a story of Atisha asking, what about the Parle G? There should be a bag somewhere. Atisha telling his main disciple, Dromtom, Tibetan. One day Atisha said, Atisha was having some kind, I think toothache or something, and asked Dromton, can you please bless my toothache? Dromton said, you're the teacher, I'm the student. And Atisha said, yeah, but right now I need your help because my mind is so kind of like occupied with this pain. So then Dromtom said, how how can I do? What can I do? And he said, your use the power of your loving kindness, and then blow onto either toothache or hand or somewhere, some kind of pain, open and put on the main torma on the side, just a few pieces. So furthermore, the main torma, on the side, just so anyway, this mala also, yes. So mala in particular, of course, there's the general use of mala, meaning the prayer beads. There's the general use of prayer beads across Buddhist traditions, across spiritual religious tradition, but specifically in the tantras, there is a special kind of focus or mention of malas and what kind of mala, how to use mala, and all of that. So particularly in Vajrayana, there are certain ritual objects that are considered samaya, meaning like objects with special significance. So the most important would be to say this Vajra and bell, which is the symbols of wisdom, the bell, and skillful means of compassion, the Vajra. So bell and Vajra is always held together, both. So the bell is not just to make sounds, it's there is like a significance to this. And if you go to our YouTube, the Drigong Dhammakirti YouTube channel, there's a video on where I go decipher every single part of this bell, every single part of the Vajra, all the features. This means this, this means this, this means this, all of it, if you want to know all the details. Then with mala also, there are teachings in the tantras. Mala is also one of these special samaya, meaning to fully engage in Vajrayana, you want to keep a set of Vajra and bell, you want to keep a set of mala, and these they say you want to keep special, kind of put away, not necessarily on display. So this, the mala that you use to accumulate your practices, will then imbue, kind of absorb the blessings. So often also these older lamas, teachers, they will use the mala to bless people when people ask for it. And for that purpose and for that reason, this mala is also not to be simply handled, to be touched by others. There's also the notion that it can be contaminated. So after all, Vajrayana is the tradition that I sometimes say, Vajrayana is a tradition that takes embodiment seriously. Whereas in the paramita system, sometimes the body or physicality or materiality is considered almost like a problem, a burden to be done with. Somehow, first to not be controlled by it, and then secondly, even better, to be done with it, finish with it. Vajrayana has a different attitude to materiality, to physical body. In fact, it says, the nature of body, and by extension, the nature of materiality, is that they are the Buddhas. We don't have time today to really get into what that means. Suffice to say is saying, in this tradition, material objects gain another layer of meaning. Yes, it doesn't take away from, it doesn't override the more general point that body and materiality are often the conditions for confusion and suffering to arise. But nonetheless, in Vajrayana, the material objects have power because They too are nature of the Buddhists. Then, in particular, mala. So generally, malas in Tibetan tradition, it's the full mala. There can be malas with various beads, depending on different activities. The mala can be of varying lengths, but the most common length, the most general length, is 108 beads. 108 beads. Over time in Tibet, they also developed this tradition of putting 3 beads to divide the mala into 4 equal parts, meaning each part has 27 and 3 smaller beads, not counting this bead, which is called the guru bead. The main one is called the guru bead. It's not counted as the 108 or the 3 divider beads. Now, if you count the 108 together with the dividers, you have 111. And so the divider beads are there, well, principally, to divide them into equals of 4, so that when you want to recite some mantra or some dharani 21 times, you can very quickly find your 21. Right? 6 beads away from your divider beads. Start from there, working back to the beginning, you have 21, right? So there's a practical reason for the divider beads. Another practical reason for the divider beads is actually so basically how you use it, for each mantra, you pull a bead towards you. For each mantra repetition, you pull a bead towards you. So you pull, you pull, you pull. So in the 111 beads, counting the 3 spacing beads, you have 111 times repeating a mantra. When you go one circle, it's 111. What is the significance of 111? The significance of 111 here, there is the symbolic meaning of 108. The symbolic meaning of 108 is said to be the 108 kind of afflictions. So for each repetition, you clear, you overcome one affliction. So that's the symbolic meaning of 108. There is also a practical reason for the 111. Because in many instructions in the Tantras, it will say this mantra 100 times. It doesn't say 108. It often says 100 times. So then, what's 111 then? 111 is factoring in the margin of error, which is 10%. Yes. They have included this as the margin of error is 10%. So for 100, you have to compensate with 10 more, right? For the margin of error. Then for the 10 compensation, the margin of error, 111. That's why 111 beads. Now, generally speaking, again, in Tibetan Buddhist practice, we use the left hand to count the mala, to count the beads. We use the left hand. 2 reasons. One is related to what is called the left hand conduct. There are 4 levels of secret mantra practice called action tantra, performance tantra, yoga tantra, and the unexcelled yoga tantra. At the level of unexcelled yoga tantra, it is said that you adopt the left hand conduct. Left hand conduct in the cultural context of India is in some ways connoting like taboo behavior. In the right-handed world that we all live in, left hand has connotations of breaking rules. So Vajrayana deliberately uses this notion of left-hand conduct to break these concepts, this fixation on like lucky, unlucky, good, bad, and so therefore left hand. But left-hand conduct is not just about transgression, although that's often emphasized. Oh, this is at highest yoga tantra, you should transgress ordinary, dualistic thinking. So you tend to hear things like that. And again, what about Kyoba Jigden Sumgen? Kyoba Jigden Sumgen also advocates the left-hand conduct, but for him he says the reason for this left-hand conduct is his explanation is I find really I like it. Of course I'm biased. He says the reason for this left-hand conduct is it's a very effective way to cultivate presence of mind. Otherwise translated as mindfulness. He says it's a very effective way to cultivate presence of mind, which is your entire day. Everything you do, you start with the left side. Again, this is advice given to a right-handed world. So it takes special effort, right? To start with the left side. I have at least one among my group of teachers who train in this way, literally. He's now in his 80s. He still keeps, I don't know for how many years he has trained in this way. He's right-handed, but taking this advice from Kyoba Rinpoche, he begins everything with his left side. Including one time, this one of his monks, young monks, he shared with us. He said, one time he was watching as Rinpoche came out of somewhere and was about to tie his shoelace. And so this particular monk quickly came forward and got to tying his shoelace. And then immediately Rinpoche say, left side first. And then, it registered with him, oh, Rinpoche is really keeping this left-hand conduct. And so he eats, he starts with his left hand. Then he switches to the right. But you see, then everything you do, the presence of mind comes. So anyway, this left hand. So when you wake up, right, you left leg, step off the bed first. When you open the door, your left hand, you go first. Everything. Anyway, in Mala, we use left hand. Then held at the heart level. Held at the heart level, generally. Then pulling the beads inwards towards yourself. And sometimes they say this circular movement, like you turn your thumb. And let the mala rest on the index finger rather than the middle finger or the ring finger or the pinky finger on the index finger. There are some ritual that will tell you use your pinky. But the general usage is with this index finger and pulling in. Pulling in is at that level, especially when you are approaching the deity. You are pulling in, you are absorbing the blessings, the particular quality of that mantra. So you put in. Then another explanation for left hand, they say left hand is the polite hand to receive, whereas right hand is the polite hand to give. So then some of you may say, whoa, what about Avalokiteshvara? Always forearm Avalokiteshvara is depicted holding the mala on the right hand. Then they say, yes, of course, but that's Avalokiteshvara. The graduated Avalokiteshvara, now Avalokiteshvara not only holds the mala in the giving hand, also Avalokiteshvara is not pulling in the beads. Avalokiteshvara is pushing the beads outwards. Now is someone with the full power to really benefit beings. So trainee Avalokiteshvaras, trainee Tara, left hand, heart center, pull in. Then the visualization, if you want, the general visualization related to mala is each mantra recitation, one chain of mantra light dissolve into your heart, making the seed syllable in the heart brighter and brighter. Then the seed syllable does what the text described it as doing. Then there's also instructions on what material to use. It says the most common one, the best and most generally good material to use is wood. Non-poisonous wood. So sandalwood, very good. Cedar wood, very good. Non-poisonous wood. Then seeds also said to be very good. Then there's one type of seed called bodhicitta seeds that grow in Nepal. That is said to be good for all purposes. Bodhicitta seeds. Then also crystal quartz is said to be very good. And so on and so forth. This particular was a gift from recently when I was in Bhutan. This is a type of cedar which legend has it when Guru Rinpoche passed through Bhutan in the 8th century. He arrived at this one place which now has a big monastery temple in central Bhutan. When he arrived there, he planted his walking stick onto the ground. And from there, this huge cedar, a really humongous cedar, has grown from that walking stick. And so every time the branches fall off, whoever happens to be there gets to take that branch. And so the temple collected these branches and made them into these beads from the walking stick tree of Guru Rinpoche. And Purubas, yes. So this is. So anyway, a few words about the mala. And now conclusion on page 48. So you make a food offering called Dharma offering. Sprinkle it with water. So that white pitcher with the little flour. Yep. Dip. Sprinkle. Yeah, okay. Ram Yam Kam Om Ahong, from the melting of the three syllables in the precious vessel, the Dharma becomes tainted wisdom elixir. Om Karo Mukam Sarva Dharma Dhamma Dhyano Panatwata Om Ahum Bhe Swaha Om Karo Mukam Sarva Dharma Dhamma Dhyano Panatwata Om Ahum Bhe Swaha Om Akaro Mukam Sarva Adhyano Panatwata Om Ahum Bhe Swaha Om Ayatare Saparivara Idam Balingta Kakakahe Kahe Om Ayatare Saparivara Idam Balingta Kakakahe Kahe Om Ayatare Saparivara Idam Balingta Kakakahe Kahe. O Venerable Noble Lady and your entourage, accept this torma of offering and gift to us yogis and our entourages. Grant health, long life and power, glory, fame and good fortune. May we obtain all vast enjoyments. Please grant us the siddhis of exalted activity, such as pacifying, increasing, and so forth. May those with the samaya protect me, bestow the kindness of all siddhis, pacify untimely death and diseases, spirits and obstacles. Make it so no bad dreams, bad omens, or evil curses and spells. May the world be at peace and the harvest good. May the crops increase and the dharma flourish. May all well-being be accomplished, and may all that the mind desires be fulfilled. So this whole section on Torma offering is optional, especially if you don't have specially prepared food offering. You can skip this section on page 48 to 50. Then you go to 51. Om Aryatare Saparivara Bhajra Argyam Padyam Pushpe Dupe Aloke Gende Nevede Shabda Pratitya Puja Ho. With the crowns of gods and demigods, I bow to your lotus feet. Mother Tara, who liberates from all lack, I pay homage and offer praise. Oh, may it be accomplished. Passionate, venerable lady, by the power and blessings of performing your approach and accomplishments, making offerings, praising and praying to you, from now until I reach awakening, may I never be separated from you, noble lady. Having perfected the qualities of the levels and paths, please cause me all-knowingness, perfect Buddhahood that effortlessly accomplishes the dual welfare of self and others. Venerable, compassionate Bhagavati, for me and all infinite sentient beings, may the two be cleared and the two accumulations swiftly completed. And I pray that you cause us to attain perfect Buddhahood until that is attained in all our lifetimes, having obtained the supreme happiness of gods and humans. If we strive for all weakness, may obstacles, harmful spirits, obstructors, infectious diseases, illnesses, and so forth, the various causes of untimely death, bad dreams and bad omens, fears and similar imminent harms be swiftly pacified and made non-existent. I pray, may all worldly and transcendent perfect accumulations of auspiciousness increase and expand, and may all purposes without exception be spontaneously accomplished without effort. I pray, may I be diligent in practice. Sublime Dharma flourish. May I always practice your yoga and see your supreme face, and may the realization of emptiness, bodhicitta, increase and expand like the waxing moon in that excellent and joyful mandala of the victor, born from the supreme and most beautiful lotus. May I receive a direct prophecy from Victor Amitabha himself. Whatever omissions or additions or impaired branches of the ritual and so forth, whatever faults I have committed, may you bear with and forgive them all. Om Vajra Sato Samaya Manapalaya Didom Mimawasa Dogam Mimawasa Bogam Wandora Domimawasa was it Mimaja Savakamasu Jamajam Zanguru Hao Bhagavan Savatan Om Vajra Sato Samaya Manapalaya Dharmadira Dharmavasa Dogam Om Vajra Sato Samaya Manapalaya Dharmadira Dharmavasa Dogam Bogam Wandora Domimawasa was it Mimaja Savakamasu Jamajam Zanguru Ha 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 Bhagavan Savata Gada Bhazra Mami Muncha Bhazra Bhava Maha Samaya Sato Bajramu. The guest deities return to the natural sphere. The front generated wisdom being remains inseparably with the support. The commitment deity's exalted body is withdrawn into the non-referential sphere. Sustain the essence of the mother, unarisen and unceasing. Release all the visualizations, just rest evenly. This is called sustaining the essence of the mother, unarisen and unceasing. Page 58. By whatever virtue I have gained arising from this practice, may I and all swiftly attain the state of the noble lady, victorious Mother Tara. Whatever your exalted form may be, whatever your retinue, the span of your life and your pure realm, and however supreme and noble your name, may I and all others become exactly like that. The deity I have practiced throughout all my lifetimes, exalted activities of all Buddhas of the 3 times emerald green, 1 face, 2 hands with peaceful. May there be the auspiciousness of the mother who holds an Utpala flower with a body free of faults, endowed with the marks and signs, with speech free of faults, having the melody Kalavinka bird with a mind free of faults, seeing all that is to be known. May there be auspiciousness of the mother, ablaze with the glory consciousness, she who grants protection through swift compassion, even by merely calling her name. May all who are connected to this excellent path of authentic practice be held in the care of the noble lady. So may you be held in the care of the noble lady. And with this, we are done. Yeah, this is a longer practice, but well laid out. I like it. It's sometimes the manuals of sadhana is a little too short. While it's good for kind of regular daily practice, daily commitments, maybe once a week, you need a oomph, something like this to kind of. Actually, it without spacing it out, explaining, and all of that at a reasonable pace. It's an hour, 15 minutes. And so once a week or once a month, if you can add some energy, to your Tara practice, and that's good. And if you don't have time, absolutely. Even especially the 21 praises, it's good, to repeat that. Then avoiding this mechanistic way of relating to these sadhanas, these methods of attainments, if we can emphasize more or pay attention more to developing a heartfelt, no matter whatever the practice, a kind of a heartfelt approach, much better than just mindlessly counting numbers. Yeah. Yep.
We wanted to do it a little more often as a shorter practice. Is it permissible to do less recitations of the 21?
Yeah. Yeah. If each of them, yeah, 1, 2, and 3, then maybe you will get the wealth and not the kids, which is okay, I guess, these days. People just want puppies. Nobody wants kids in any case. No one's praying for kids. You'll just end up with puppies. Feral kittens come meowing at your door. Yeah. Okay, so when we have a chance, maybe we'll do some Tara retreat, with the 4 mandalas, the hermitage after it's open. It's a good space. If you make some effort to kind of go away, then you can experience being away, and you don't need to. It's so easy to kind of be distracted here. And Kimo Droma shared how when she went away, even her own place is an ideal place, but then when she went away to Arizona and did retreat, the quality of the practice is different. Of course, Kyabje Rinpoche is there, Gajen Rinpoche is there, so his field of activity is very powerful to be doing retreat around him. It has, obviously its effect. But just, all the texts talk about, when you make an effort to go away, So even here, just go away 1 hour. It's different. In the Muslim tradition, where daily there's 5 times a day you perform worship. In the Muslim tradition, it says, the further you live from the mosque, every extra step you take to go to the mosque to perform worship, God multiplies your merit by every step that you take. And so same idea, the idea of like how much are you prioritizing, how much effort are you putting into, and happy effort, joyful effort. And the quality of the practice is different. So anyway, thank you so much. Happy Father's Day and all of that. And there's still some hours left on this Sunday, so enjoy your Sunday. And thank you to all the people joining us here. And of course, thank you to Kemo for coming from Maine to hang out with us.
Really, thank you for being this audience's wonderful conduit. And on solstice also.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right.
Adore the communion.
Good. Yeah, it was solstice indeed. And often, like His Holiness say, Kyoba Rinpoche says, when you don't like intentionally arrange things, and somehow they come together with these like special days, he says that is Siddhi, according to Kyoba. So I've experienced many times. I'm not very good at paying attention to all these seasonal moon, I'm just not that kind. There are some Vajrayana people who are, very diligently paying attention. But more and more, like things being arranged, like, it's like, oh, wait, what? Oh, today is so-and-so. Oh, great.
Well, I appreciate your comments and generosity, and my whole sangha now is coming.
Oh, good. Yes, yeah. Thank you. Yes.